Chairman. Just back to the line of questioning by the subcommittee ranking member, I had asked similar questions at an earlier hearing, and what we have is a contradiction here. The two contractors claim that FEMA reviewed the contracts and actually signed off on excluding oversight. That's been denied by FEMA and again today, and so actually the Inspector General is going to try and get to the bottom of this, how these rather fishy contracts were entered into and what role FEMA played, but we can't resolve that today until we have the IG report. So let's go to some issues we might be able to resolve. Mr. Byard, Ranking Member Titus and I just recently sent the administrator a letter expressing concern about your personnel, your reservists for emergencies. Your own standards say that you should have 10,928 reservists. You had 6,749 on call last year, and you still have 2,383 deployed, so that seems to leave us with something around 4,300 reservists. How are you going to deal with that issue this year?
You know, so that's a very good question, and as we outlined in our after action, we faced personnel shortages in 2017. You know, if you go back, the agency faced personnel shortages in 2016, 15, 14, 13, 12, 10. You can go back, and we're going to face personnel shortages in 2019. So how do we do that? How do we accomplish our mission without coming and saying we need more FEMA employees? Several things that we're doing in the recommendation that affect us. First of all is changing our national level doctrine and revising the national response framework. What that will do for us as a country, it puts more players at the table so that the resources and the personnel we have, we can better utilize those by including the private sector in what we do daily, in our private, in our deliberate planning, in our operational planning, by incorporating our critical infrastructure nodes, our 16 critical infrastructure nodes, and then cross-sector planning with those so that, you know, if a problem hits, we don't hit one bucket. We task organize around the problem. Now, we are hiring in critical areas. We're hiring in logistics. Also, as the report identified, we had issues with the last mile logistics, specifically in the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico. So we will have teams that can get on the ground anywhere, not just in the Commonwealth, and help in the last mile logistics. For example, in Texas, very robust capabilities on that end from the state and local side of the things. So we didn't have that same issue. The other thing we got to do is, as you look to the left or right, our best emergency managers they don't wear a FEMA shirt. They're our state and local partners. We have the system, as you probably are aware of, the Emergency Management Assistance Compact, and from the state, I'm from state emergency management. I have done that. I have assisted states and I have brought in states. But when we talk about a national catastrophe, and similar to what we saw in 2017, we need the ability to also rally those resources, those well-trained professionals, and put those resources to use. So that will increase our staffing also, and we're doing that through what we call the National Qualification System, and we feel like we're going to have great buy-in from our state and local partners. I personally did that in 2012 when Hurricane Sandy hit. FEMA contacted me, and I led a team of 8 from the state of Alabama under FEMA's direction to help out the efforts in New York City. Not only does that benefit us at the federal level, you bring those lessons learned back to your state and local jurisdictions so you better the nation. So we have to look at, you know, in a perfect world, I would love to have 20,000 reservists ready to go right now. And in every other federal agency that's probably set in front of you would say they would love to have, you know, X amount of people. But the reality of it is we have to look outside our traditional means. You know, we talk about state and local governments and we talk about mitigation, but that's not working. So how do we do things better?
Wasn't there concern, in particularly in the case of Puerto Rico, about reimbursement to the state and locals if they provided mutual aid?
You know, there may have been, and again, but how does FEMA get involved in that? Let me tell you how we did get involved in that. We expedited what we call Category B under the public assistance that would reimburse the Commonwealth to do that type of payment. We expedited that. That was our priority at the time, obligation to the Commonwealth. So there were concerns, but again, that's a question better asked to the Commonwealth or to others. We to combat that, though, what we've done in 2018, we've hired over 1,500 local hires on the island. And they're FEMA employees. They're going through the national qualification system now. We've had very robust exercises. We have over 4,600 staff on the ground. We have people embedded with every municipality. We have done a tremendous amount of effort from 2017 response-wise into 2018, and we put that to the test, as I believe somebody mentioned with Tropical Storm Burl, where we could take that recovery operation and quickly turn that machine to a response organization in about 14 hours. We've increased a number of commodities fivefold in water and MREs. Generators are currently still connected to critical infrastructure. We know we're going to lose power in a storm, but we will be able to power emergency power to those critical facilities.
Okay. Well, thank you. My time has expired.
Yes.
I was going to ask the Corps and
Thank you.
regarding the removal of the very large generators that they delivered, if I could, Mr. Chairman. I don't know if they've actually been removed or just planning to remove them, and I guess I would question why you would do that now with the beginning of the hurricane season, since their grid still seems somewhat fragile.
So there were three what we call mega generators rented and brought to the territory. Two in Palo Seco to help stabilize the grid there. They remain in operation today. There are no plans for immediate demobilization.
Okay, good. That may have been bad information we received.
But there is one, sir, in the community of Yabacoa that will be demobilized effective midnight tomorrow. And that is a decision that was reached based upon assessment by PREPA of the status of the grid in that area. And it was concurred, that decision to demobilize was collaborated and concurred by the Unified Coordination Group, which has a representative from the governor's office there who concurred with that.
Okay. Well, hopefully PREPA is better managed now than it was before. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Mr. Mast for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman.